Feature Friday.
The freshest.
Oh my God, recording in progress. What are we doing?
It's alright.
This surprised me. Oh my God.
Well, was it the lady that speaks like recording?
Yeah, just like
Mine tells me in Japanese that it's recording. I'm like,
oh,
really?
how cool.
There's a Japanese ghost in my computer. God damn.
What does it sound like in Japanese when it says recording?
Recording. Hachimarimasu. That's what it sounds like.
I love that.
Thank you for coming on, brother. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, man. Good to see you guys. How you doing?
We're great. We're so excited to have the opportunity to talk to you today. Welcome everybody to Feature Friday. Plus, as you can see, we're joined today by BABYBEARD and LadyBeard specifically. How are you doing, Richard?
What's going on, fans of Feature Friday? This is LadyBeard coming to you all the way from Tokyo, Japan. Valeska, Efra, how are you doing today?
Woo-woo! We're doing great.
Yes! Yes, this is it. It's the real thing. This is the whole thing. Oh my goodness. Great to see you guys. How are you?
We're
Everything
great.
all right, thank you
We're
so
great.
much.
How's the weather out there in Tokyo?
It's cold. It's not warm. It's the opposite of warm.
I totally feel you out here in London. We've been getting the coldest days.
Really?
Horrendous. Like yesterday, I'm pretty sure the sun didn't come out once at all throughout the whole day. It was just something.
Have you had the chance to visit London before?
I have visited London. The only places I've been in the UK are London and Lancaster.
Oh,
Those are
really?
my
Lancaster.
Yeah, that's right.
Why
Yeah.
Lancaster?
Well, in part, that's where my heritage is from.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, because not many people just go randomly to Lancaster.
it's
Oh, that's right.
area.
Let me tell you something. I arrived in Lancaster. I got off the train and I was like, oh, well, now everything makes sense. It was like the whole town of my granddad. I'm like, okay, all right, I understand.
But you're Australian though, right?
I am Aussie, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. And tell me about, how on earth did you get to Japan all the way
It's
from
not
Australia?
happened.
That's absolutely nuts.
Real quick summary of the whole ridiculous. For those of you who don't know me, my name is LadyBeard. I'm a cross-dressing pro wrestler and heavy metal singer from Australia who now is based in Tokyo, Japan. What happened was I used to be an actor and a voice actor and a stunt man. I actually lived in Hong Kong and I had a hilarious life there doing voices for anime and doing stunts in kung fu movies.
No way.
That is the coolest thing, man.
It was hilarious. But then that 2008 financial crisis came along and just wiped that out. So I'm like, so overnight, I'm like, all right, that whole thing is gone. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, what am I going to do now? And I made the only logical choice, which is I said I could solve all my problems by becoming a cross-dressing wrestler.
Logical.
It makes perfect sense, as you can see.
It does make perfect sense. But I love that from stunt.
Oh, bless you. Thank you.
From the stunt career into making music. Has it always been a passion of yours?
Yeah, well, I've loved heavy metal since I was a teenager. And so when I was young, when I was in high school, I was like, I want to be a heavy metal singer, but I didn't know how to scream, you see. Right. So I spent years sitting in my bedroom going like, not that hurts. Not that hurts, and trying to figure out how I could scream without hurting myself. And I failed at the whole thing, right? Yeah. So I went, all right, I'll be an actor. So I became an actor. And interestingly, it was being an actor that taught me how to scream because it was dubbing anime. I used to dub Japanese anime into English. Whoa. So it was dubbing. It was doing the character voices for things like monsters and things like that taught me how to scream safely. So as soon as that happened, I was like, oh, goddamn, well, here we go. Here we go. Limits off, people. The shackles have been removed.
I love that.
No career started.
Well, it's super interesting always to kind of listen to the stories because and I mean, maybe now that you look back retrospectively, maybe you were kind of always meant to be doing what you're doing now, because if you kind of look how your career was shaping up and even learning how to do screamo or, screaming in metal or the ability to act and then voice act and then bring out, that kind of big personality to the entertainment industry. Those are kind of like, kind of little, what would you call them? Steps into what you're doing now, I guess,
I would agree with that. It's kind of, in some respect, you can, it kind of makes you start believing in things like fate.
Absolutely.
Because you go, yeah, this well, that couldn't do it at the start, so I did something else, but then that allowed me to do it, and then the other skills meant I could do it more, and so on and so forth.
That is so cool.
You guys, hey, we've been talking about me this whole time. You two, firstly, you two have beautiful voices. I just want to say, Leska, you sound wonderful. And Efra, your flow is tight, my friend. I don't know very much about hip hop, but it's my understanding that that is a sentence of praise telling someone their flow is tight.
Yeah, that's the lingo, brother. That's the,
That's the lingo. I am so street. This is amazing. But then I want to ask you something. Now, when did you guys? You're from Venezuela originally, yeah?
Yeah.
And so, at what age did you come to London?
Well, I think I must have been about 15. Around that age, yeah. So
what happened was Bale actually came to Europe before me to study singing, and she went abroad when she was went to Europe maybe when you were about 15 14
years old.
And then like a few years later I followed along to London, and then we all kind of congregated here. And then we liked the city so much, and father and mother also enjoyed it as well, because father has a long history in the US. He kind of grew up in New York and stuff like that. So it was random that we actually would end up, if we were going to be abroad anyway, we would end up in the UK. And then
it's like kind of by luck.
Yeah, it was just random luck. Things are lined up, and then all of a sudden, we're here. And then I instead of doing music, I went to do tennis full time, and then my sister went to do musical theater.
That's right.
Yes, great. My goodness. Well, look, that brings us back to what we were saying about fate, wasn't it? Despite your connection with the US and everything, somehow it worked out that you're in London.
I totally agree. It's wild though.
You've been to the US as well, or?
I've been to the US. Yep. I love the US. It's hilarious. I have a great time in the US.
Yeah.
I love it. I actually haven't been to the US yet, so I'm looking forward to doing that in the future.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I haven't been.
We should organize a tour. We should organize an Elvis BABYBEARD crossover tour. It'll be LadyBeard.
That would be so cool. I'd love that.
I'm really interested, brother, in finding out. Obviously now, it's so different to launch a new band. Back in the day, we used to be in Venezuela and very, very involved in the music industry there since kids. And we kind of saw, different bands be launched, and obviously our own. And it was very different, mall tours, it was press tours, it was live shows and signings, and
people, it was
standing sometimes in places and handing out free albums and or just shaking hands. Now, obviously, all of that is basically screwed. So what's it like launching such a big and like a project that has so much energy and so much potential? Because the past has spoken for itself. So what's it like now?
Well, look, I mean, pandemics don't make things easier. Let me be frank. When you're trying to look, I mean, I'd say the whole appeal of my show personally, and also my show with the girls. For those who don't understand what I'm talking about, I just started a new group called BABYBEARD. The idea is babies, so that's two cute little Japanese girls plus LadyBeard together, BABYBEARD. Logic.
They're awesome, by the way.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you very much. They're both hilarious. They're hilarious.
No,
kids.
their whole chemistry. You guys have a really cool thing going. Awesome. I really love it. It's great.
Very sweet. Thank you. You're very sweet. But now I feel the appeal of the whole thing really, when it comes down to it, is the live show, because like you say, there's a lot of energy and there's a lot of and the more you to the audience, the more the audience feeds that back to you. So then you feed it back to them, you get that feedback loop, right? So just through the internet like this, look, I won't lie, it's not the ideal way of doing things. I will not lie. But it's so therefore our first song, Nippon Kara Konnichiwa, that's kind of what the whole thing is about. Nippon Kara Konnichiwa means hello from Japan. So it was kind of a theme song which revolved around, all right, well, we can't physically get to you to do the show, so we'll do as best as we can through the internet waves in the meantime.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if anything is gonna, if this would have been the right time, like just in the industry overall, for a pandemic to hit and music still to go forward, it probably would have been now, given the fact, I mean, look at the lovely opportunity we get to speak to you,
Oh, exactly right. Hey, look at this. Good times.
Incredible remote places, but it is one of those things of, it's such a task now,
It really is. What I think is interesting about it is, I think from a kind of an underground perspective, it's sort of a moment of magic from an independent artist type perspective. Coming from heavy metal, as I have, heavy metal is, generally speaking, it's, you know, four filthy dudes are like, all right, I'll learn to play the bass, right? I'll learn to play drums. We'll have a band. That's kind of how bands form, right? So it's all organic, and it kind of grows bottom up. Whereas pop music is kind of put together from the top, and it's a top down type model, right? So I think for independent artists at the moment, this is fantastic, because there's all these new tools available with the internet and so forth. There's all this amazing communication that can happen from the other side of the world and so forth. And there's an opportunity for a real innovation in the current kind of global climate, because there's so much that can't be done. So if you can figure out what can be done, then there's a lot of value in that, because people are desperate for the work.
Totally. Yeah. I totally see that. I think this times for sure, this past couple of years have definitely brought up a brand new catalog of music and new artists. I think overall, I think that's what has made this journey of Feature Friday so exciting, at least for me, you know, and discovering so much music and artists that are so invested like you in their crafts is such a cool moment. And I think it definitely got amplified due to the world's circumstances, you know. So, you know, there's always a silver lining.
There's a silver lining, and there's always a plus hidden beneath a mountain of doom. Let me ask you guys something. How did you discover all like the Filipino artists and so forth that you've been getting into recently?
Pure luck.
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. Pure luck. I think at that point we had already discovered the South Korean music industry.
That's right.
And then I guess like a few people recommended, it's like, you know, if you guys, given Valesca's background of singing, they were like, if you really like, you know, purist of the art, the craft of singing, so you have to check out this music industry. And that was the Philippines. And then from the Philippines, that evolved to like Indonesia. And then from Indonesia, we've done podcasts like on Thailand and Vietnam and
Singapore and China itself.
It is mental how much music there is, you know, in the East compared to like what you're usually traditionally exposed to. If you're in South America, maybe you're only exposed to Latin American music and then the US charts.
That's right.
You wouldn't even hear the UK charts in where we're from.
No.
Is that right? Really?
Yeah.
UK charts are important charts globally.
Yeah. But I think overall, I also think about a decade or 15 years ago where the internationalizing of music itself was such a small thing. Like you really wouldn't go out of your way. Right? Yeah, you wouldn't go out of your way to hear international music. So the most exotic that you could possibly get outside of the Latin American charts was probably the US popularity of music. And I think our extent to exposure of international music kind of got capped there until we came to Europe. And then I think, you know, being in the center of so many cultures here in London, you accidentally stumble upon, you know, an incredible music from exactly. Or you would stumble upon something, I don't know, fascinating from Africa, and then from there, you know, I think my fascination with trying to find things that were refreshing and different to what I was exposed to my whole life kind of became really, I don't know, really passionate about it.
Do you listen to like music from all over the world, or?
Yeah, I do. I listen to a lot of music from all over the world. The reason I was asking was I actually used to live in the Philippines. I lived there for about half a year. So I listened to one of your podcasts recently when you guys were talking about the Filipino work a lot. Yeah. And I was thinking to myself, look, that is a nation that loves music. When you walk around the Philippines, it's a beach culture, right? It's people just hanging out with guitars all the time and singing all the time. So it's an amazing thing. But no, I listen to a lot of global music. So like I say, I lived in the Philippines, I lived in Hong Kong, I now live in Japan, I lived in Germany for a while too. So I've been lucky in that way. I've been exposed to quite a lot of different cultures' music.
That's amazing.
And it's a wonderful thing. What I find very beautiful is hearing the way that the different languages work within.
Gosh, I couldn't agree more. Yes.
Listening to, so for instance, in Hong Kong, right? Like listening to the heavy metal bands in Hong Kong, a lot of the bands want to sing in English because they think it's cooler to sing in English. When they do sing in Cantonese, it sounds amazing, man. Cantonese has a lot of sounds in it, kind of like oh, and these kind of these noises we don't really use in English very much, or in Spanish or most other languages, kind of like oh, and like things like this, right? So hearing that put into the music is really quite amazing,
Yeah,
especially for foreign ears.
I totally agree. I think listen, I think that's the fascination when it comes to not understanding, but opening up your horizons into listening to music. And I obviously talking to a voice actor as we are right now. I think you would
Vale
appreciate.
is going to, dude. Vale, by the way, she was so pumped for this because she was geeking out because obviously maybe you're someone that she can kind of discuss kind of technicalities of voices and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think.
Thanks.
I think overall, I think you know, when you start to discover the abilities within speaking and speech quality and everything that comes with the luxury of language itself, when you hear it exposed in a genre that you already had a concept of, but because of the language it gets amplified in certain aspects, and you're like, you know, I find that to be such a fascinating process of listening and exploring something new. You totally hit the nail on the head though.
When you guys sing in Spanish versus English, do you feel you're able to express yourself in certain respects better in one language or the other?
Yeah,
without a doubt, especially in rap. Like
really,
I feel like I don't know, it's weird, it's like certain emotions are like translated better in specific languages for some reason. I don't know if you find the same.
Yeah, 100%.
In which way do you feel the most comfortable when, especially when composing and writing your own stuff?
I mean, English, because it's my first language. So therefore, it's the one I can most easily express myself in. But in terms of singing it and the phonetics involved, Japanese is quite pleasurable to sing in.
Very syllabic, right?
I'm sorry?
Japanese, very syllabic, the Japanese language.
Yeah, and it's, because how do I say this, man? It's like, it's a soft language, but it's quite, it sounds to me quite staccato a lot of the time. It's very kind of,
rhythmical,
right? Yeah, and lots of kind of like sort of things, right? So therefore, when you put that into rhythms, that can, you know, be wonderfully expressive, right?
What do you imagine? We haven't checked out Japanese rap.
Yeah, that must be.
Yeah, there's some great stuff. There's some great stuff. I'll send you some Japanese rap.
Absolutely.
I'll send you an email. I'll send you an email with a collection of recommendations.
Yes, please do.
Apologies to interrupt. Go on. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Have you guys? So before pandemic, were you guys gigging a lot in mainland Europe, like in Germany and France and the other European countries?
Well, no, not at all. I think I recently, you know, I came out of college with the degree with the performing arts, and I started pursuing that, you know, auditioning, trying to get into theater and all of these things. And that kind of brought me back to the years of local touring, like how we used to do it back home, and live music. And I you know, I remembered how much I love the friction with the audience, and you know, being in live situations with people singing back to you, and you know, that whole communication that opens up in live gigs. And then I focused on that for a while, whilst Ephra was doing professional tennis on the other side. Isn't it weird?
Oh, really? It's just hitting a ball. It's just hitting a ball and then hoping he lands in. and then getting your ass kicked most times.
So after that, I think Ephra and I kind of, you know, being siblings and all, we had drifted apart a little bit, but we've always worked together since children.
Especially in music, and then all of a sudden we're doing this again, you know?
Yes, so. and I think it came from the idea of like, let's rekindle that relationship with music and working together, and Feature Friday came about, and then that's the end of the story. I suppose.
Beautiful, guys. That is lovely. That is something fantastic. My God, how did this tennis career? I'm sorry, I interrupted. I'm sorry. How did this tennis career start, Ephra? Because to go from childhood musician in Venezuela to my big sister goes to school in London to I play professional tennis.
Literally, it makes no sense.
I don't know, just I broke my wrist and they recommended it was good therapy, like it was good like a rehab when I was a kid. And then I picked it up, I picked up a racket, and then I just started hitting balls, and it felt nice, like it felt like it was like it clicked. And then like 5 years passed, and then obviously, you know, coaches see you along the way and maybe they sell you the dream, they give you hope. And then, but you're just another kid. And then you kind of pick it up and stuff like that. And then start competing. And then, yeah, you start doing it. All of a sudden, all your life is to do with this, like with this one thing. And I forgot actually that I had music. So I had left that part of me just sleep while ballet was doing theater and traveling and rehearsing and things like that. And then ballet gets injured.
Yeah,
it was a toughie. Yeah, your back.
Yeah, I broke my back.
Yeah, broke your back?
A little bit.
Like the what do you call it? The discs became dislocated.
Yeah, so I dislocated. Yeah, I dislocated 3 discs on my lower lumbar spine, and you know that kind of like put an end to my whole dancing theater career.
Oh no!
Yeah.
But in some way, though, it made a focus in what I've always thought was best, which was singing for ballet.
Right.
Well, there you go.
So who knows?
Again,
both
destiny.
Fate! It's fate, people! It's destiny! Both of you are in this position due to crippling injuries.
Basically.
Well, I didn't really stop because of injury. I just stopped because
You started because of injury. You broke your wrist until they gave you a
That's right. I guess, yeah, you're right.
That's so weird, isn't it?
Bloody hell, yeah.
That is amazing.
Some weird situations.
Are you?
For sure.
What are you like with a racket on your hand?
With a racket in my hand?
Yeah, like
I had tennis lessons when I was 9. Look, I can hit the ball over the net sometimes.
That's good.
Listen. Generally speaking, if you're really good with ball handling, you don't think to yourself, I'll go into pro wrestling.
Hey, hold on a second.
Yeah, great point.
That's a good question, Doug. Pro wrestling?
So I started as a martial artist. So I started training in martial arts when I was 13. And so I trained that all through high school and university and so forth. So then became a stunt man. So I was doing fight scenes and so forth and kung fu moves and whatnot. Was always interested in pro wrestling because it's sort of a combination of all the things I did anyway, isn't it? It's, you know, large character performance and fight performance and all those things mixed together. I was always interested in it, but wasn't really, like, training wasn't really accessible to me in my hometown. But then when I was in Hong Kong, one day I was at a heavy metal show, and in the mosh pit, there was a young man wearing a shirt that said Hong Kong Pro Wrestling. Oh. And I said, what's this all about? He said, yeah, I'm a wrestler. You want to come to training? And I said, yes. So
that's the most wrestling thing I've ever heard.
That's hardcore thing ever, right? In a mosh pit. I'll do that. Go see you Friday. Gonna ruin my hair. Gonna get yelled at for ruining my hair. Sorry.
Oh, it looks lovely. It's fine.
Oh, thank you, sir. God bless. Yours does too.
So yeah, so
go on.
Wearing a hat. That was the joke. You're wearing a hat, so I can't see your hair. Sorry. That joke clearly didn't fly the way I thought it might.
No, 11 a.m. UK time. That's all it is. That's all it is. But yeah, so you meet him and you start going. Well, I guess if you were doing mixed martial arts, your wrestling must have been all right as well. So you went to train.
Yeah, well, it was more from the stunt training because you already know how to hit the ground and things like that. So yes, I picked up relatively quickly. And then my first match was a month later. Whoa. And just FYI, yeah, anyone who's going to start pro wrestling, a month is not long enough between your first match. It's a very short period of time.
It's like training camps are usually like 6 weeks or something like that, right?
Yeah, and that's once you already know what you're doing. When you go, well, beginners are doing it in front of people. That's a very short period of time to do it in. It's not. I don't recommend it. Hey, young pro wrestlers, train for a long time before you debut. That's LadyBeard's advice. But what happened was, I picked up relatively fast because of my stunt background. And then a month later, we're getting ready for my first match. And I get asked, okay, so what do you want your in-ring gimmick to be? And I say, I am going to put on a dress and I'm going to be called LadyBeard. And the other wrestlers are all like, okay. Because all of them, their gimmick was, I am a wrestler. Yeah. And that's kind of what they had, right? So I went into the ring and I was, out of all the wrestlers in this federation, I was the only one who really had a character. Mm-hmm. And so I went in and overnight I was the most popular wrestler in Hong Kong.
What? Jeez, that is
saying that much because the wrestling scene in Hong Kong was a grand total of a few hundred people. So it's not saying that much. I'll be frank. Nonetheless,
take the title. Don't let anyone take that title away from you. That you earned that.
Yeah.
Right? No one else can have it.
But you know how difficult it is to sell tickets. So if you're selling tickets, that means something.
Right. Which was great. These kids in Hong Kong, man, was actually quite amazing because they were not really a proper wrestling company. They were a bunch of like 20-year-old kids who had rented like a room in this industrial building. Hong Kong's all tall buildings, right? Because geographically it's really small, so it's all tall buildings. They'd gone out to the kind of the far-flung areas. They'd rented a room in it was like a concrete rectangle. That's what they had. And they had DIY constructed their own wrestling ring in there.
Whoa.
And
it
was actually amazing. And now, since then, about 3 of them, I think, have gone through WWE. So it's the most underground start you could think of to get to the highest level possible. It's quite amazing, really.
I want you to make a movie of yourself.
That is one heck of a story, man.
That is awesome, dude. That is so cool.
I haven't been to WWE. Only people I know. I'm still trying. Still sending emails. Yeah.
I am here.
No.
Listen, I think overall, the translation from your whole career that you've just literally talked us through into music, it doesn't seem like the easiest transition to make. Like, so after you do all this pro wrestling and stunt movies and stuff, how did you actually land the idea to go ahead with music?
Apologies to interrupt, but I was familiar with some of your work because it blew up on the internet.
Oh, it did.
Maybe like 6 years ago. And
even we knew from the other side of the world.
No, bless you, thank you.
Wow. At that point, we had already been in the UK and in Europe. Because I think that was like 6 years ago when I saw some of your work.
2016. Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, this is exactly the stuff that goes viral. You know what I mean? This is exactly the type of stuff that causes a wow. So tell us a bit about kind of the journey in music.
That's right.
So what happened was, like I said, I've loved heavy metal since I was a teenager. And my favorite songs were always heavy metal covers of pop songs. Because the way pop is structured, it's structured to be catchy and flowy, and it gets stuck in your head, and they're really great songs from a composition perspective. But in terms of delivery, I like the power and the force of heavy metal. Right. So when you put those two things together into a heavy metal cover of a pop song, like there's heavy metal covers of things like Last Friday Night by Katy Perry and like Call Me Maybe and whatnot. And they're fantastic songs. So they'd be my favorite songs. They're fantastic, right? You've heard these covers, yeah?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, good job. So they were always my favorite songs. And so when I got to Hong Kong, when I moved to Hong Kong, I started listening to Cantonese pop music to work on my language skills, right? Oh. And so I heard all these really melodic, catchy pop songs. And I said, these are great songs. I wonder who's done the heavy metal covers of them. And it turned out no one had. No. And I kind of said, oh, well, someone should do that. And then 3 years later, after the financial crisis wiped out everything I had done, I said, you know what? I want to do a heavy metal career. No one has done heavy metal covers of Cantonese pop songs. I think the world needs them. I'm going to do them.
Cool.
So, but I don't play...
There's a space in the market, right? That's what that means.
Yeah, there's a space in the market. And it was also kind of a case of, I think personally, this is what the world needs. I was surprised no one had already done them. People do them in Japan and so forth, but in Hong Kong, no one had done them. Oh. So I was like, I think the world needs this. So, I'm a foreigner and things and everything. So my Cantonese is terrible. Thick accent, bumbling through, bad grammar, all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, all right. So I get the songs and I don't play any instruments or anything. All I can do is sing and scream. So I'm like, all right, how the hell am I going to do this? So I worked with a guy who was a musician, as like a professional musician who recorded and so forth. And I said, all right, I'll hire you to make tracks for me. And then I'll just have the track live. And I have to play the track and then I'll sing live. Yep. And we'll make it through like that. So what I did was I started wrestling. And it was about a year after that I started music. And so this wrestling thing had gone really well. And I was not originally planning to do my music career with this LadyBeard setup. But I said, I've got a fan base already established in the wrestling. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same character for the music, and I'm going to bring the fans over, and I'm going to tie the two together. So I'll do things like I'd be singing on stage, and then a wrestler would come on stage and blindside me, and we'd have a fight in the music venue, and we'd tie the music shows in with the wrestling shows. That's how that happened.
That's
Oh, glad.
fantastic. Fantastic.
A good merge of both things, and now it came to be
So
what it came
clever.
to be.
It is really clever. I mean, you've already seen the success with the and the impression that you've already made in the wrestling area. It would have been really, you know, an easy transition in terms of performance, I suppose. You were already accustomed to the character.
Well, that's exactly right. So I already
Yes.
had the character and I already knew what the character was and so forth. So good. Yeah.
Would have
That's
been, yeah.
great.
It's also really like intriguing to me, that how much you've traveled, because that, I mean, not only does that show this kind of willingness to I guess learn from different languages and learn from different industries and different cultures, and then kind of to create something, you know, it always seems like perhaps the traveling and or just perhaps like all the things that you've done so far have always been in kind of a, yeah, again, it seems redundant, but it's like leading towards a concept that I think you've hit in the head with BABYBEARD. You know, it makes sense. Like things just kind of, the more I listen to you, the more it makes sense, you know?
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. You guys say very kind things. I appreciate that greatly. You're both lovely people. Thank you very, very much.
It's weird because I don't say, this is actually a problem, mate. I don't say them to be kind, and then people, like, it happens outside, or maybe it's a mean thing, but I don't say it to be mean or be kind. I just say it because it's like, I think it's the most truthful thing I could say, because that's just what I'm thinking at the moment of. I think the things you've done kind of have aligned to this kind of a project. And I think that's why you also feel, again, this is a guess, why you feel like you care, because you have so much passion behind this project and it's so hands-on. And that as an artist or as a creator, that's the best thing you can possibly hope for when someone launches a project.
That's right.
I mean, I imagine you guys probably have something similar, because what you're doing now with music, especially with your stuff on YouTube, like if you're playing tennis, it's an individual sport, but you need a court and you need like a tennis club, essentially, a place where it can be done, you know. Lester, if you're doing music theater, you need a whole theater company, you need a theater, you need a stage. Whereas what you guys are doing with your music on YouTube, it really is just, you can do it and just put it out there yourselves.
Yeah.
And it's all you.
Is there I guess is the YouTube has become like the independent dream, you know, and it's been so nice to see so many other people be able to use that leverage. And then if they do land deals or deals do come their way and things like that, they kind of have leverage, because there's always been that thing. I mean, I'm sure you know about it, of you're always at a disadvantage when a big label comes your way, because you have no leverage. You're a nobody, and they have everything to lose, you everything to gain. But then all of a sudden it's like, hold on a second, dog. I have fans out of no, it doesn't matter where they're from or how many, but at least you have some sort of leverage. And I guess I've seen it done so well by other people, and it's nice to see other people also doing it, you know.
It's a glorious model. It's a really great model. I commend you guys and people like you guys on doing it. I think you're doing a fantastic job. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now, Valley, you are, may I call you Valley?
Absolutely, yes.
God bless. Wow, thank you, sweetheart. Valley, my darling, Valley, my dear. You so you trained in music theater, but also you guys were childhood musicians. So did you just exit the womb singing, or did you get singing lessons when you were small? Or how did that happen? She did. Exit the womb singing.
I think it's always been a natural thing for me, I guess. Given the fact that I'm so squeaky and high-pitched, I think I just took the most advantage of it when I was a child, and try to make it melodic instead of annoying. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, no, I think music has always been, I don't know, ingrained in my soul. Some part of me is just owned by that, by music. My grandmother she sings all the time, and I think I grew up listening to her singing. And my dad has always been, a musician as well as a sportsman and a businessman and all these things. I think my mother being a dancer, my mom can't sing for life, but
our mom cannot sing.
But she's a fantastic dancer, and she was always so passionate about it. And I think, I think my environment also really helped me shaped into what I wanted to be really early on. And I think I had a really loving environment when it came to the exposition of art itself, you know. So I felt always really free. And yeah, I think it was just a natural transition for me. Yeah, you know.
Wonderful. So hang on, so sorry. So dad's a musician, mom's a dancer, yeah?
Not really. Mom, that father, he's a drummer.
No, he's a drummer. Okay.
Father's a drummer. But mother loves to dance, but she wasn't like a dancer in the industry or anything like that. She's just loves it. Like she genuinely loves, and she's actually good at it. Like salsa and like merengue, you know, all those type of Latin rhythms.
Yes.
But I guess in South America,
it's just like natural.
It's like
I would agree with that.
Everyone just sort of does it, you know.
Yes.
But have you had a chance to maybe visit South America?
A lot of cultures. Oh yeah, dude, I love it. Dude, Latin America in general is my favorite place to do shows.
Really?
The warmest audiences. The first time I did a show in Mexico, the audience was making so much noise that on stage I could not hear my track. It was fantastic.
Awesome. Wow.
Deeply passionate people all over the whole, like Central America, South America, the whole continent.
Yeah, it's odd how naturally warm, like the whole culture in general, the Latin culture is really bizarre.
I think it comes from, they're really open-minded, they're really welcoming. I think I don't know where it comes from, but it definitely is a staple thing in geographically speaking. It's wild. It's like the Philippines, known for being great singers. I'm like,
right.
Geographically what it is, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Very interesting as well, because it's not like Latin culture. There's a good 20 countries or something thrown in there.
That's right.
So it's this geographically this gigantic landmass, and that warmness and that passion for music and rhythm and so forth transcends throughout all those countries and all those cultures. And it's really something beautiful. Do you guys get back much? Do you get to Venezuela ever?
No.
Not much.
We haven't yet. Yeah, it's a bit of a tough situation out there.
The country over there at the moment is tough, like
right
politically and all that stuff. So it's not nice.
Yeah.
But we still have family there, you know. We still have family.
You do?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah. And they come to Europe sometimes and stuff like that.
Really? And so like you said, not to talk about hard topics, but it is tough down there. Is your family down there okay?
Yeah, I think
they're fine. I mean,
as
fine as you can be, you know.
Yeah.
Given the situation I see.
Yeah. But it's really the only rough thing, like just talking about like linking it back to music. The rough thing about like Venezuela is also that like the arts and the music, because of the tough situation in the country. I can't imagine what other artists are going through, and you know what I mean, and other families and stuff. Because it is really rough to even create anything out there and hopefully try and do something, because everything is so against you, you know. So
it's so environmentally out of your control.
So
I imagine it'd be extreme. Like, no, I can't imagine either. My goodness.
Let's talk about you moving to Japan and then
big move, eh?
Meeting the ladies. I mean, that is so cool.
God bless. So here's what happened. So I was in Hong Kong doing my thing in Hong Kong. So with the wrestling, started the music gimmick in Hong Kong, and I was doing that, and I organized myself, did a DIY tour of Japan. So here's what happened. I couldn't speak Japanese at the time, but like I was saying, I was doing these metal covers of pop songs. So I spoke to Japanese friends, found a bunch of pop songs that would make sense as metal covers. Okay. And I got the lyrics like written out in Romanized Japanese. I just learnt them all phonetically. And so they just went off to Japan alone with like 2 friends in Japan and just winged this tour. And it went so well. It was fantastic. My God. Cool. So I came back and I was like, well, clearly I need to move to Japan. So I organized my life as such to go and move to Japan. Went over there at the end of 2013. At the start of 2014, I met my first manager. And this was very interesting. She was a photographer and she specialized in photographing cross-dressers.
Oh, wow.
And so she took my photo, she put it up on the internet, and it went viral. Nice. So that was the beginning of the LadyBeard Japan journey.
Right. That's actually, that's such a luck. She's that specific photographer, and then she becomes your manager. That's mental.
Yeah. I did a totally unrelated job. When you move countries, right, you just do whatever day job, as you guys know, right? So what I did was I went and I signed up with all the kind of the foreigner talent agencies where you try to get whatever dodgy gig is available. Right? Playing the priest in some weird TV commercial. So I did this commercial, and it was me and a bunch of other foreigners were extras in this commercial. And so I was brand new to Japan. I'd only been there like a month or so. All the other guys had been there for ages. They all knew each other and so forth. And I was the new guy. So they're like, all right, so tell us the story. What are you doing in Japan? And I'm like, all right, I have this LadyBeard thing and I'm here to do this LadyBeard thing and make a go of it. And so one of them was a photographer. And so at this day, job was 2 days. I told him about the whole thing on the first day. Second day, he comes back and he's like last night I Googled you. I was curious when I Googled you. And I think my friend would love to photograph you because she specifically photographs cross-dressers.
Right.
So I'm going to put you in contact. Cool. And I was like, good. So yeah. Fate, people, fate, ladies and gentlemen.
Serendipity. Love that.
The powers of Grayskull.
I know. That's fantastic. So when you start doing all of this stuff and start garnering a lot of popularity amongst the community, because that's literally the beginning of everything. You kind of like need to make a name within it. Start meeting people and whatever. When did it come about to do the first move with the ladies and then start whatever was the virality sensation that you became after?
So I was just doing my own solo career, and so I'm doing these metal covers of pop songs and so forth. And I was on the cover of a magazine, and so that was in the airport. And what happened was the CEO of a Halloween costume manufacturer was getting off a plane, and he saw me on the cover of this magazine. It's me in a pink and white bikini with my pigtails in like this, bicep flexing, right? And he said, "What the hell is that?" And so he took this magazine, took it back to his office. And he showed his staff, and he's like, "Look at this thing I just saw in the airport. Look at this maniac." And they're like, "Yeah. This LadyBeard guy. He's showed up in Japan recently. He does this heavy metal thing." So that CEO said, "Bring him in. I want to work with him. Bring him in." It's like, all right. So they contact us, and we go in for a meeting with this guy. He's a sort of not Japanese, Chinese dude, sort of eccentric fella. He had moved from China to Japan like 20 years ago, and he'd gone through this kind of entrepreneurial dream of from nothing, started this Halloween costume company. Cool. And so we're in his boardroom, and he's all kind of like chilled out and whatnot. And he's like, "All right, so I want to work with you. Don't know what we're going to do. I want to work with you." I'm like, "All right. Cool." Now I was thinking he was gonna, make like a line of Halloween costumes of my trademark bikini or something. It seemed to make sense, right? So he's like, "All right, so I want to work with you. Don't know what we're gonna do, but let's do something." We're like, "All right." So we leave. And a month later, he calls us back in, and we go into the boardroom, and he's like, "I'm gonna put you in a pop group with 2 teenage Japanese girls."
Okay.
All right, very good. So that's how that first group came to be.
That's wild, man. That's absolutely
I'm telling you,
crazy.
Dude, please make a movie.
Write a book, I'll buy it.
Yeah,
hey. Warner Brothers, hey, Sony, hey, we're looking at you. The Herreras have told you the LadyBeard Life movie must be made. Herrera approved.
Absolutely. That's one heck of a story. I mean, what the
or at least like even you could document it yourself and then make a documentary. You know what I mean? Like it'll be mental.
Yeah. Trying to work on some, documentary is a grand idea. It's quite tough DIYing the documentary because you're trying to naturally do things and you always need a camera set up somewhere. So unless there is a camera which magically captures everything always, it's a bit tough.
It's quite hard.
But you are onto something, my friend. You are onto something.
Well, I think BABYBEARD has a high potential of becoming something really, really cool. So I'm sure the funding and whatever is needed to make. I don't know what the logistics of making a documentary are, but I'm sure they require cash. So whatever.
Like all things.
Yeah. So I'm sure things will line up well, and because I think so many people will be so interested, dude.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Just
it's
so, and it's really pleasurable to listen to you and listen to your story as well. So imagine if you can, have a look at things moving, and then it's you narrating. Mate, money.
Oh, fantastic.
Thank you, brother. I hope so. I'll take this opportunity to plug the music video. Hey!
Yes,
hey,
please do.
Hey! BABYBEARD, LadyBeard's new group, BABYBEARD, our first single, our debut single, Nippon Kara Konnichiwa, just hit the YouTubes. Can we put a link in the thingamajig down the bottom?
Of course.
We're gonna react to it now.
I thought it would be a brilliant idea to take this opportunity and actually get all the insights from you since you're here with us.
Oh my God.
Have you had a chance to review it after it's been launched? Check
yeah, well, it's been out for less than 24 hours.
That's right,
so positive reviews so far. But look, let's see what you guys think. Yeah. Maybe you'll be the first to hate it. Let's see how it goes.
Here's another thing. When this goes out, because this is gonna go out on Sunday.
Okay, great.
So we're gonna do a main podcast where we review music, and we're gonna do obviously Japanese metal and rock. And awesome. So at this point, everyone watching has probably already seen the video. So but they haven't seen our reaction to it, and obviously they haven't seen your input. So
neither have I.
Yeah. Really.
So how's this going to happen? You guys have got it playing on a screen over here. Oh, look at this! You guys are tech G. I'm gonna sip some water.
Just let me know if you can hear it.
Yeah.
I'm overwhelmed.
And feel free to put in as much as you want in the comment.
Yeah, comment as much as you want, and obviously the more information and the kind of the stories and things that happen, and it's the more enjoyable I think other people also find it, and more informative for us.
All right, I love it. Let's hit this thing. Here we go.
Such a class act there.
Bless you.
I love this, man.
Thank you, sweetheart.
That's awesome.
Let me tell you something. Dancing.
Damn,
thank you so much.
Bro.
Yeah, thank you so much for that equalization of those. I know it's heavy metal, but I always have a pet peeve because I drum myself. Some tracks don't equalize their drums correctly.
I see.
Pump them up. Metal does this really well, but uniquely well, and not other genres. Because obviously, metal, heavy metal, drumming is such a big part of it. But it's equalized in that manner where it's it gives you that punch, so it's lovely.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Excellent. Homerareta. Yokata. Nippon Kara Konnichiwa no drum ga homerareta. I just told the team. They love it. Excellent.
It's really good. The equalization of the drums is good.
By the way, also the visuals and the video itself is so freaking fun.
It's all correct, dude. It's so fast.
I love it. It's great.
Bless you. Bless you. Let's continue.
Oh, she's adorbs.
Oh, she is. She's lovely, actually. She's very sweet.
What is this? I love the video.
Oh, good.
What does Nippon mean?
Nippon is Japan.
Really?
Right.
Yeah. So Nippon Kara Konnichiwa is hello from Japan.
Right, yes. Cool. Dude, I love it. It's fantastic. This is so fun.
Bless you.
The editing is mental.
Yeah, and the thing is though, even though this is heavy metal, it's the most lighthearted, really fun, refreshing thing ever. Obviously, you have this
fun metal.
That's
it's
right.
Fun metal.
It's just such a weird thing, right? Because heavy metal has this already conceptualized idea. This is dark. It's heavy. It's everything about the darkness. And I had my metal phase. I really did, and I really enjoyed it too. Yes. When I was in high school, that was my jam. Okay.
Good.
Bring me to the horizon, bullets, and stuff like that. So I really do enjoy it. But this is so refreshing though.
So
good.
And it's highly melodic, so it does break
pop music.
Yeah, exactly. It does break through this kind of a barrier that perhaps certain music genres may propose, but because it's highly melodic and highly catchy, it's something that is so accessible to everyone. So far, it's super enjoyable.
Bless you. Thank you. Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
See, that's the right equalization of the drum.
That's so cool. I love that.
Cool guy.
When you read the subtitles,
so true, right?
I love that.
They just put random Japanese words in their tops and stuff. They never know what they mean.
but the same thing happens here with English, right?
No
Like
way.
here, there'll just be random English words on shirts, and then at home there's random like Chinese and Japanese words on shirts.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine, his friend speaks or reads fluent Mandarin. He saw this dude walking around, this is back in the 90s, this dude walking around, shaved head, tight t-shirt, freaking hardcore, right? Hardcore as hardcore could be. Chinese characters on his shirt, think he's badass. The Chinese said girl power.
Ooh, yes.
Hey, maybe
girls.
he actually knew what he meant. Yeah.
Hey, he was the precursor to LadyBeard. He was stealing my gimmick before I had my gimmick.
Well, he initiated it all.
But the Japanese love that in the same way as like we laugh at funny English t-shirts when clearly the wearer doesn't know what it means. The Japanese laugh at that the other way around when Westerners wear Japanese shirts so that says some nonsense like seaweed and cat's piano and just ridiculousness, right?
Yeah, I totally get it. It's so funny.
I didn't think there they would have it in English. I actually never came
Yeah.
across. Yeah. So
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I love that. Wi-Fi. That's awesome.
Very sweet.
And I mean, the lyrics are cool too.
Oh, good.
I love his bit. Fire.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's such a juxtaposed idea. I love it.
Glad you're digging it.
Absolutely.
We go breakdown coming.
Ooh, listen to that guitar. Woo!
Hello, let's go. You guys are great reactions.
Fire, dude.
No, listen,
It's actually
let's talk
enjoyable.
about that breakdown. Music.
You guys are great reactors. My God, this is fantastic.
Thank you. Stop. I can't deal with all of this. All this stuff.
2,000 videos later, you're the first that says it.
Really? I appreciate your reactions dearly.
I'm only joking. But yeah, I think once you do it for a little while, I don't know. You know what's really weird? It's like especially when we're doing joint like this, because most artists find it weird looking back at themselves.
Yeah.
You know that's what we find, and that's what other artists that have come to the podcast also say. But it's also really interesting reviewing something when you know people are watching it, because you don't want to get too technical with things because it might lose people, right? But I think the huge highlight here is especially the way you've equalized the percussion and the cymbals of things, because there's such a big moment in heavy metal, but I can still hear the brightness of like the China of the. I can still hear the China cymbal. I can still hear the dampening and the darkness of the double pedals and the floor tones is really well done. So whoever mixed this, dude, top.
This was made by a bit of a genius, a guy named Asano-san. He also made my first song, Nippon Manju. So BABYBEARD is my second group in this form with me and the cute girls, right? So we tried to get, like that first group was a massive success.
Yes.
So for this, we tried to get all the same components that happened to the first group. We kind of reconstruct them as best we could. So we got Asano-san, and Tadano-san was this lady who wrote the lyrics. She also did Nippon Manju. So we tried to get the exact same team back together for this. Get the band back together.
Good choice.
I think overall, musically speaking, it is complicated and it's fun, but it's refreshing, but it doesn't lose the core essence and the power of it, which can easily be, that's a transition that can easily be disregarded, especially in the fusion of both aspects, the melody of pop and the beautiful vocals from the girls, but you also still maintain the core essence of heavy metal itself, with that breakdown and the high guitars and your freaking vocals, the screamo is perfect. It's so formidable. It's great.
That doesn't hurt when you scream like that.
No, it doesn't now because I did dubbing, so I learned how to do it safely. Ha 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 ha. We'll finish the video. I'll give you a screaming lesson if you want. You want a screaming lesson?
Yeah.
All right, good times.
Yes.
Here we go.
Pull it back to the breakdown. I want to hear the breakdown again, dude.
It's so good, isn't it?
Oh, I'm so happy you're liking it.
It's fantastic. I want to learn it so I can sing along. This is so good, you know. It's fun. It's fun. It's so fun.
Thank you.
Nice. Big build up.
Woo!
Nice.
Yeah, this is it. Woo-hoo!
Yes!
I love that!
Yes! People, Nippon Kara Konnichiwa on the YouTubes now! Yes! Yes!
I love it! Yes!
Thank you, guys. Thank you. I've never watched a reaction before. That was highly enjoyable. Thank you for reacting with such passion and grace.
It's good.
No. It's honestly, we try to be as honest and as organic as possible. And this is definitely one heck of a punch. And I love it. I love it.
You guys are great. God bless you. Thank you.
Really, I'm really glad that you. Well, I was obviously interested in listening to this, but heavy metal isn't my choice of music that I would listen to on repeat. I think the reason why I was really interested on this is obviously I've seen some of the previous stuff you've done in terms of them. You've always maintained that melody aspect of things. So it's enjoyable regardless whether you like heavy metal or not. And it still causes a big wow. So, but I'm a drumming fan. So anything that has to do with heavy drumming, I actually want to know who the drummer is.
Oh, wow. I don't, off the top of my head, I don't know, I'm afraid.
Drop me a text.
I turned up, recorded vocals, and that's all they told me. I'm sorry.
No, but it's good. I'm serious, and I'm glad also you've chosen the same team as before.
Yeah.
Because, thank you. Yeah, that was a good move. We're happy with that move. Yeah. I'm looking around my team, nodding, going, approval from the Londoners. Good.
Absolutely. It's a brilliant combination of elements. I think it's bound to turn heads wherever it is, and I think you also have the right approach at the character itself outside of the music that you're creating, and I think that's it's a selling aspect, and you got it down. I think this is fantastic.
Awesome.
You guys are so sweet. Thank you very much. You guys are so nice. This is fantastic.
Well, you must know you have something going on.
Yeah, this is
special. I think I have something. Right, but it's very interesting, like watching. Like I say, I've never actually watched someone's reaction before, so that was quite a profound moment for me. So thank you very much. When you're doing it, okay. So now with this whole thing, what for me is actually the most, I don't know the correct adjective, the most insert correct adjective here thing about it is I do the choreographed dancing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's
you
the girls
choreograph it yourself?
No, we work with a professional choreographer
who's
cool, good at doing those things. But I was never really a dancer until I got put in these pop groups, and I've had to, develop that skill. But now it's, I think that's something that's quite unique to us and our group. I don't see any other heavy metal artists who can do choreographed dancing. This is why I think this is quite different from most other artists. Is most artists, if a pop artist tries to do something heavy metal, or a heavy metal artist tries to do something pop,
yes.
It's always someone who's really good at this thing and then kind of doing a parody of the other thing or an impersonation over here. Yep. And the best they can do is pretend. Whereas I think what we've done is we could genuinely take both worlds seriously, and that's one of the pluses of this project.
It makes sense, but I mean, if you look at your background and obviously the skills you've developed in terms of not only your personality and the character, but also, you know, the scream and the performance of the dance and the actual performance of things itself. And the girls are wonderful at creating this pop element. It really makes sense because you've brought two aspects at which you both are the best at. And then you connect together.
And it's a cohesive progression as well.
It doesn't feel forced. Which is really good.
And there's something really natural about the whole synergy happening, at least as is translated on the video, right? So, because I think that's the most expressive that you can get through the music video itself.
And this is the debut, so we're seeing the beginning, right?
This is the beginning. You guys are so fantastic. I want you guys to just follow me around as my raise my self-esteem team. You guys are sensational. Thank you so much, guys. Really.
No,
well, if it would have been trash, I guess we would have discussed all the things that would have gone wrong, and then perhaps we could have discussed on things that could have, you know, perhaps gone different.
Been improved.
But I think you must know, and I think I agree that if there is something really certainly unique, definitely a space in the market, especially now, like. You're seeing all these choreographs that are going viral. You know, the South Korean industry does a really good job of this. And now P-pop from the Philippines does a really good job of this.
J-pop, Japanese pop has always been really good at it.
So,
outstandingly good at it.
No one's done it with this genre of music.
That's right.
Is it niche? Yes, most likely. But does it have the chance of, because as you've seen the numbers from the past. So does it have the chance to access new audiences and make new fans? Of course.
Hell yeah, get involved, people. BABYBEARD, Nippon Kara Konnichiwa. Yes. Thank you, guys are very sweet. Thank you. I'm genuinely deeply touched and grateful. Thank you so much. My goodness.
It's an absolute pleasure.
Bless you. Let's do a screaming lesson. Have a sip of the old H2O. We'll do some screaming.
All right. Sure. I left my bottle over there. That's all right.
So I assume because you guys are already singers, you already understand, you know, to a certain element, safety, vocal safety, and anchoring.
I don't sing. I rap.
Noise, that kind of thing. Yeah, but well, you're a vocal artist, Ephra. You are a vocal artist. You are the Hey, if you take Ephra and you put it into the word sensation, you're the Ephration. That's what you are. Oh my God,
okay. Hello.
Yes. Ephrational. So, we're skipping over the first 10 lessons, which are all about, you know, safety and supporting the noise of the scream. And let's do all that. We'll get to the fun part. No worries. Okay. So scream, my scream ends up sounding like so. So here's how we get there. You're gonna start making a kind of a very gently, a dry cough type sound. Yeah. You don't want phlegm, you don't want a phlegmy cough. Nice dry cough from your top palate. And then you're gonna just put a bit more air into it.
Okay, wait. Give me a second. I'm gonna get it right. I really can't.
I'm trying to drop the phlegm. You don't want it here. You want it up here. You want it at your top.
Okay, at the top, like at the back of the soft palate.
Yeah, at the back of the soft palate. Yeah. Good. That's it. Good. So then from there, it's just a matter of, you know, getting comfortable with that noise and then just putting, like, using your back muscles to support the sound and then just putting more and more air behind it. So. Yes! Brutal Valley, yes! Well, let's get oh my God.
Don't sell me a dream because I'm not gonna be out screaming here for the rest of my life.
Hey, if you dye your hair black and you do a whole lot of like gothic eyeliner, smudge some like white paint on your face, you'll be fantastic at this, Alaska. This is fantastic.
All right.
I forget the screamo bit, but I'll just do emo rap.
Okay.
Yes. Good plan.
Yes. Darker rap, you know.
Screamo rap. Good job.
Wait.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
No, wait. I can't. Wait. I have to laugh and I can't laugh. Wait. Is that it?
Yeah, you just need to get some more air. I kind of feel like you're sucking it back. You kind of need to let it come out.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the foundation of it. Yeah.
Right.
that was shit.
Hellraiser. Let's go. That was fantastic. I call you Waleska. I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing your name. That is inaccurate.
No, it's fine.
Sorry, most people she doesn't take any harm to it anymore because
never did actually.
Yeah, because even back home, even in Venezuela, people will still call ballet Wale or Waleska or Valeska.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's all right. Whatever sounds similar, right? You can call me Jenny for all you know. I'll still reply.
Ephra is a harder name to mispronounce. If I don't know how you mispronounce Ephra.
Yeah.
I get, but when I came here to the UK, it was people got it wrong a lot of the time. But then the more they got to know me, I guess they're more corrected them. But I'm surprised at how many people, like from different parts of the world, like when we do the podcast, get my name correct and get Bale's name like it's the hardest one.
Yeah.
But I always thought my one, especially because it has the R in English, like Ephra. I didn't. Maybe some people might struggle, and here in Britain, people struggle with it. But
really,
yeah. But
is it? But in Espanol, is it because the R becomes an H, right? Is it F or is it?
No, it's the same Ephra.
You roll the R, so you roll the R like a lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you roll the R. Yeah.
I get the feeling you could probably pick up Spanish.
Yeah, I would like to learn Spanish actually, Spanish and/or Portuguese. I would like to learn one of those two.
Yeah, that's really
like I say, I love the Latin American culture, and I love going down there to do shows. So I'd like to learn the language to a certain extent.
Talk to me about learning Japanese though, because I know I know phonetically you can pick it up quite easily. Like listening to other artists and other people talk about their experience about learning Japanese. But what was it like for you? The whole language difference.
So Japanese, like you say, easy from a phonetic standpoint, difficult from a grammar and a politeness standpoint, because there's different levels of politeness in the language. And it's kind of like, if you imagine 5 layers, it's kind of like the middle 2 are the ones that you sort of learn just generically when you're studying. You learn basic polite and basic casual. Right. But then either side of that, there's actually several layers of politeness you can go up and several layers of casualness that you can go down.
Right.
So when you get to the bottom levels or the top levels, it's almost a different language. Whoa. So that's what's really challenging. All the words change to polite or unpolite versions of the same word. Structurally, the language doesn't change as far as I understand, but like the words will change. So if you think about it, that's 5 sets of vocab you would have to learn if you want to be able to do all of them properly. Right. Is that accurate, Shiori? Yeah, my manager's nodding. My manager's a linguist specialist, you see, so I have to, anything I say, I've got to run it past her to make sure it's accurate.
That's really cool, man. It's such it's culturally so different, right? Yes. So understanding the differences between the politeness and the respect aspect, and so much comes from language and the communication aspect of it. What was when you first obviously coming from Hong Kong and then moving to Japan, the whole idea perhaps wasn't so different to you?
No, vastly different.
Yeah.
Vastly different. Really? So what's interesting is, so the style of communication, not the language itself, but the style of communication is potentially polar opposite between Cantonese and Japanese. Wow. So in Cantonese, so as Westerners, we're generally speaking fairly direct with our speech. We'll say, Waleska, you look beautiful. Or I say, Ephra, dope rap. We'll put it out there, right? And if you do something upset me, you'd be like, bro, I don't appreciate that. If you could leave it alone, that'd be great. We're relatively direct. Okay. The Cantonese are hyper direct. So they're just like, you no good. They're just, they're bah, and everything is bah, bah, bah. So it takes quite a long time to get used to that, because you're like, hang on a minute, did he just say what? Wait, what? So it's quite, the Cantonese style of communication is very direct. Get over to Japan and everything's hyper indirect. So you cannot speak to someone directly in Japanese. It's pretty offensive if you do. So if I want to say, for instance, if I want my manager Shiori to go get me a glass of water in Japanese, in Australia, I would say, hey, Shiori, can you just grab me a glass of water, please? And she'd bring me water. I say, thank you very much. And it's over, right?
Yeah.
But in Japanese, this is a silly exaggeration, but just to give you an idea thing, I would be like, oh, Shiori, isn't the decor in this room beautiful? And now she's supposed to observe that I'm doing this. So therefore, I must be getting a dry throat from having my head up like this. So she should say, oh, Beard, would you like me to bring you some water? And I would say, oh, no, I don't need any water. That's a preposterous idea. She'd say, no, but I genuinely think you really need some water. And I say, no, I couldn't possibly trouble you to bring me water. She'd say, no, I insist if you get me water. Bring me the water. I have to say, no, I can't possibly accept this amazingly generous present from you. She'll say, no, I absolutely assure you, you must take the water. You say, well, if I absolutely have to, 17 generations of my family are in debt to you. And so that's how the human nature style happens. It's very indirect, accurate, exaggerated by accurate. Yeah, she's nodding again. Everything's very indirect in Japanese, right? So that's the biggest shock, because especially when your language is bad, your language skills aren't good enough to handle that kind of round around the roses kind of communication. So you just say, this, not good. This, beautiful kind of thing, right? But that's actually quite offensive from a Japanese standpoint.
Right.
Cool.
So actually, that's the hardest part to get your head around. I'm still getting my head around it. I'm still not good at it. I've only just realized after 8 years, I've only just kind of noticed it.
Yeah.
So, but I'm still not good at it. I still don't know how to do it, you know?
It's so interesting, right? Like the different social dynamics that come from the natural nature of the language. I mean, as redundant as that sounds, but yeah, that's so interesting that we here in the West, we are virtually one-dimensional with language. And then it seems in other parts of the world, they're multi-dimensional with language. I would imagine it probably is. It probably led to a lot of weird moments at the start, you know, trying to learn, like, I meant this, but they misunderstood that, or, you know what I mean?
Always. There's things like, so for instance, it's the same word, and not quite the same word, but okay. So to say something is but is not but. Okay. It's you use the same. It's the same as saying isn't it? So saying it is and it isn't is the same thing, right? Janai, right? So yeah, you can say like this is not water. Kore wa mizu janai. That is not water. If I were to say this is water, isn't it? Kore wa mizu janai. It's the same words, but it's just in context.
Yeah.
In context, the meaning changes. Huh?
Right, dude, that is absolutely complicated. I think I would have a nightmare just trying to understand the social dynamics, let alone understanding the layers in the language.
But
gosh,
you've liked it though. You've liked the Japan as a whole, because you've obviously lived there for quite a while now. And
yeah, it's wonderful. Look, yeah, great things about it.
I've always wanted to visit. But I've never actually had a chance to speak to someone who's actually lived there.
Yeah.
What do you feel is probably the biggest difference in the living aspect of things, apart from the language?
The biggest difference in living is the way the systems operate. Japan has its own systems across the board, government, banks, or like all the institutions that are kind of, you know, underpin your life. They have their own system of operation with all those things, and it's different from anyone else's system. And it's the system because it's always been the system here for like 3,000 years or whatever. And they just keep on doing it. And that's the system, and that's always been the system. And so it continues to be the system. Is that accurate? Okay, Shiori's saying this. Clearly my understanding. But you see, it's a different system. And this is the other point I come to. If you're a foreigner, you can never get it. Like you never... you just can't.
Let me let you in.
You just can't. One of my best mates here is an American. He's been here 25 years or so. Okay. Fluent Japanese, reading, writing, studied Japanese at university. 25 years, doesn't get it. You just can't get it, because if you're not born into it, and if you don't grow up in it, if you don't go through the education system, because so much of the way they operate is these systems and the way of operation are then built into the Japanese identity. They have an extremely strong sense of identity of we are Japanese and everyone else is not. So from what I can tell, this is all, by the way, everyone, this is all from what I can tell, observing as a foreigner.
Your experience.
These systems are all integral to the identity. Is that accurate, Shiori? Okay, she gave it one of these. Okay, cool.
I love Shiori. Shiori, you're the best.
Shiori, you're the best. She gave a thumbs up. As you can see, she's not very vocal with her reactions. These are Shiori's reactions off camera. She's got this one. She's got this one. And she's got this one.
Perfect.
Well, tell her very directly that I think she's awesome.
Afra thinks you're awesome. She's masked. To be fair, she's masked. So,
that's fantastic.
Brother, thank you so much, man. It's so good to again to be able to obviously see your launch of BABYBEARD and speak to you. Our doors will forever be open to you.
100%.
And I hope that when you do come to the UK, we get a chance to do a podcast in person. And
yes, that'd be killer. Yes. Yeah. Next time I come to the UK, let's get Ephra on stage. Let's get you on stage. You could do a rap in the middle of one of the tracks. Yeah.
Let's do it. I'm down.
Valley, you want to come on stage too? We'll teach Valley some Japanese. Go on stage. Hell yeah. All right, we're going to sort it out. Next
Hey, you need any drummers or anything, you let me know. I'll drum and rap.
Of course. They've got the whole thing going on. My God, it's a whole package.
No, it's seriously.
Really cool. Me guys, man. It's fantastic. Thank you so much.
If you want to plug anything that you'd like to promote, this is the moment. Go ahead. Tell everybody who's listening and tuning in what's new, what's happening, and what's popping.
Fans, friends, relatives, head on down to the social medias. Head on down to the TikToky, the Twitty, the Facey-booky, the YouTube tubes. Put in BABYBEARD_Japan. It's easy to remember because it's like a giant baby that has a beard. BABYBEARD_Japan. And also LadyBeard_Japan. That's just me. Press the like and the follows on both of them. And please head down to the YouTubes and you can watch again Nippon Kara Konnichiwa by BABYBEARD. It is coming your way. Shiori's making a hand gesture. And what? I don't understand. Shiori's doing dance moves, but I'm not sure what they mean. Explain? Oh, yes! No, I understand! We're gonna have dance videos and lyrics videos coming out extremely soon. So head on down, subscribe to the channel, and then you'll be ready for everything as it comes. Valley and Ephra, you guys have been absolutely fantastic today. You guys are extremely enjoyable to talk to. And I am a massive fan of everything you're doing with your music and everything you're doing with YouTube and the podcast. So thank you so much for your contribution, because
thank you, man.
I really think you are doing an excellent job in spreading artists who potentially would not necessarily have much of an opportunity to be seen by alternative audiences. You're giving them an opportunity to be seen all over the world, and that is something for which the whole world should be extremely grateful. So thank you, guys.
Thank you for coming on. This has been an absolute wonderful experience.
Actually, mate, I could do this for another 3 hours. I just know you're a busy man, and you have lots of things going on, and I don't want to get my head chopped off by your awesome manager.
Shiori might come in here dancing at you again. She'll come in here dancing at you. Go, oh gosh, Shiori, I'll
tell you what. Tell Shiori next time when you're in the UK, she must come and she must be in the podcast with us.
Shiori, you're on the podcast next time. Okay. She gave, this time it was a sideways head with the thumb.
Whatever that means.
No, but Shiori is extremely sweet. She's the sweetest person I've ever met.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for coming on, and we appreciate your time. And well, by the way, let us know whenever you do drop something, do let us know, and we'll be sure to check it out.
Make sure to let everybody know that BABYBEARD's back and they got more stuff.
And
yes, thank you so much, guys.
LadyBeard does, you let us know. We also got you, man. No worries.
Thank you so much, guys. And any of my fans who are listening right now who are not yet subscribed to Valley and Ephra, make sure you click that subscribe button and the notification bell, etc. Like, comment, all the things, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, this is the real thing. We're not messing around.
Hey.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys. Arigatou gozaimasu. That was wonderful. Thank you.
Everybody, LadyBeard.
Bye-bye.